Wait, so you're set that it is immigration. There's nothing else.
If
Okay, how
Donald
would you
Trump's
argue
number
that
one
you're fit?
issue was immigration, I don't know why he wouldn't try to pass a border bill.
Okay, I don't even agree that it was his number one issue.
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking, are you lying to me or are you lying to yourself? Because it like obviously is, and if you ask any Trump supporter, they'll say it is. If you want to see more content like this, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Rinyald. And if you disagree with anything in the video, make sure you join the Discord and we can have a chat sometime. How's it going?
Good. I wanted to ask that guy like about the landlord thing. I guess I don't understand it.
He's just anti-landlord. I think he thinks it's exploitative. Exploitative.
I mean, what is
Exploitative?
anti?
I
Yeah,
don't
what
know.
does that mean though? Like, anti-landlord, like there should be none, or
Yeah, there should be no landlords. The institution of being a landlord is necessarily bad, or it's, yeah.
and then who would upkeep these apartment buildings that nobody's paying for?
Um, who knows? I don't agree with him.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should change his mind. I mean, it's kind of crazy. You can't keep the logic. Once you ask a few hard questions, they're like, I don't know.
I mean, realistically, I've told Cardo this too. Is that like he was arguing with a couple of my buddies about it, and it turned out being more heated than it was expected, and they were both trying to bitch at me about it, and I was like, dude, I just don't care. Like, I could not care less about landlords being ethical. I just don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah, like, and landlords should probably be a thing. Like, they probably shouldn't be corporations owning houses. We could probably all agree on that. But there should be somebody that owns the houses. It shouldn't be taken over by the government.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Ooh. For a sec, I thought you were a communist. I was a little worried.
No, I don't even think Cardo is a communist either. Actually, I don't even know what
He's
he is.
definitely
I don't know what
that
he
guy.
is.
He's a commie. He's a commie for sure.
I don't know what he is. Because he also, I mean,
100%
the way that I met Cardo is him coming up and arguing a bunch of the commies that, like, raided this live. So, I don't know, man.
commie.
What the fuck?
I felt like that was appropriate. Do you disagree with the actual prompt at all?
Let's see. I might need my reading glasses on.
I can read them if you want to. Are you a Trump supporter?
I mean, I voted for the man 3 times, so
Are you a Trump supporter? Like, do you support him currently? Like, because it's possible, a lot of people voted for him and regret it now. Are you like an actual Trump supporter?
yeah, I don't regret voting for him.
Okay. Do you want me to go
Do I
down the list,
support
or do you want to
everything he's doing?
give like a? Do you want me to go down the list, or do you want to go give like a positive?
Well, I mean, I think everybody has to acknowledge whether they like it or not. Like he's done a great job with the border. Like when talking about what he was going to do, I think he executed that.
No, I don't think you did. Um,
Okay.
I can't agree with that. I'm sorry. So okay,
But just based off the numbers, like how do you disagree?
because the story is deeper than just the numbers. If we have a
Oh,
system that's allowing the numbers to be the situation that they're in, and Donald Trump is abusing power that he shouldn't have access to right now in order to artificially bring the numbers down, but not actually change any of the system by which that allowed those numbers to be so high, then I don't think Donald Trump did a great job. So like when we actually need a border bill and Donald Trump only signed an executive order that got held up in the courts and he's doing deportation efforts which are illegal, there's no I can't see how that's a good solution to the border rather than just pursuing any sort of legislation.
well, I can tell you because during the campaign, like
Hmm.
he said it, you don't need policy for like you need a better president. You need a guy that's going to say, I'm responsible for national security. That's my part of the government, and I'm gonna protect our borders.
Yeah, but he's
And
but
you
he's
know, the
lying though.
courts
The
are
problem is that we do need legislation, and Donald Trump is misusing emergency powers in order to be able to shut the border down.
okay, but wait, this guy's president for 4 years.
Hmm.
Realistically, is he going to get legislation? Probably not. But can he shut it down for 4 years? Realistically, yes. It looks like he probably can.
Yeah, but it's not good faith. Like if you're doing it if your only like route to shutting down the border is declaring a bullshit state of national security when there's no state of national security, then I think that that's not a good solution. And when you're basically just doing it to kick the can down the road, when you and I both agree he's not actually going to have any long-term solution to it, and he's just going to sign this executive order and wait for the next 4 years.
Hey, but here's the thing: at any point, the Democrats can come around and say, we're gonna protect the border, and then all of a sudden the border becomes a non-issue because everybody agrees it needs to be more secure.
Can't Trump do that too?
He's doing it.
Why are you justifying passing the buck off the Democrats? No, he's not doing it. He signed an executive order. That's not a fix.
Passing the buck off? No. Passing the buck off to Democrats. The Republicans are like, let's close the border. They're already on the side.
No, they're not. You and I both agree they're not going to pass any legislation. They're just going to do an executive order. That's not a fix.
Wait, didn't they just like pass a bill that funded ICE? Like
funding ICE doesn't fix the border. ICE is a domestic force. They don't even. That's not what ICE does. That's not a fix to the border.
I mean, I would call them border security if they're taking people that cross our border illegally and they're removing them. I think they're part of border security.
Does that fix any problem? So like if we both agree that like the big problem is false asylum claims, like that like border gotaways isn't a huge problem right now. If we're concerned about crossings, how does ICE do anything for that?
Well, like we aren't really concerned with crossings now because the border's shut down, but we are still concerned with the.
You're not concerned about any future crossings. You're not concerned that the system that allowed for all of those crossings is still in place with no alterations.
Well, I mean, I'm concerned if we vote in another like far left person that wants to open the border for 4 years. If the country
border wasn't open, but that's not what I'm asking. I'm saying, don't you think that we should be pushing for legislation to prevent any far left person from opening the border? Because if Joe Biden was opening the border, then it's going to be pretty likely that you're going to see the other person as opening the border too. Why isn't Donald Trump putting in any preventative measure to stop them from doing that?
Wait, is the Border Patrol a federal agency?
Why are you not answering that question?
No, because this is the point. No,
it's not the point. I'm asking you, why is Donald Trump not doing anything preventative to prevent the next president from opening the border?
Yeah, but you understand that laws only matter if they're enforced.
Do you understand that that wasn't an answer to my question? Why isn't Donald Trump doing anything preventative?
He is. What are you talking about? How many people?
How is it preventative? He's not changing any of the systems. What's going to stop the next president from just opening the border again?
Well, it depends who it is. If it's another person that supports America first and safe borders, will continue to have.
If you want to bank on having Republican leadership for the next entirety of America's existence, then I think you're probably going to lose out on that. I'm asking you, if Donald Trump cared about the border, why wouldn't he put anything preventative in place to protect against the next Democrat who's in office?
Well, I'm sure if he had 12 years to work, maybe he would do something like that. But he's got 4 years.
You think it takes 12 years to get a border bill passed?
No, but I think he has a lot of stuff he wants to get done. And
would you agree that Border Patrol was his #1 issue in this election?
I don't know if I would agree with that. I mean, it was definitely like #1. I mean, I don't know.
You're telling me that Donald Trump's #1 issue is not immigration? That's what you're telling me?
I'm not saying it's not, but I'm not saying.
No, I'm saying you're saying that there's something else that was more important to Donald Trump than immigration.
The economy.
He was running on the economy more than immigration. That's what you're telling me.
I think it. Are you saying that's not?
I'm trying to figure out if you're lying to me or lying to yourself. That's the thing that I'm trying to figure out.
Wait, so you're set that it is immigration. There's nothing else.
I'm set that if Donald Trump's Donald Trump's #1 issue was immigration, I don't know why he wouldn't try to pass a border bill.
Okay, I don't even agree that it was his #1 issue.
Yeah, so that's why I'm asking: are you lying to me or are you lying to yourself? Because it obviously is, and if you ask any Trump supporter, they'll say it is.
I mean, you can an individual's opinion doesn't really mean anything. Let's talk about some numbers. You want to talk about some numbers? Because I think he put more money into ads in regards to the transgender issue than any other issue. So based off that number, I mean, that was his #1 issue.
So if you were to ask if you were to ask Trump voters what their number one issue in the election was, what do you think they would have said?
You would have got a very wide variety of answers.
I just can't tell if you're living in a delusion or if you're just like trying to keep yourself in this. Like, I just want to know, let's say that it's Donald Trump's number 3 issue. Like, why is he not even trying to pass a border bill? Why is he relying on emergency powers to do any immigration legislation, or like any immigration action?
Well, you heard him during the campaign when he said you don't need policy, you need a better president. You heard him say that?
Yeah, but I'm saying if policy would prevent the next hold on. I'm saying if policy would prevent the next Democratic president from fucking the border up again, why would Donald Trump not try to do that?
Wait,
is it because that it's because emergency powers to shut the border down is much more easy and it's much more easy to kick the can down the road to the next administration, so Republicans can win in another 8 years. That's why.
I got some news for you. If there was policy passed that completely shut down the border and a Democrat got into office, all he had to, he could literally stop that law from being enforced. You understand that? That's a federal agency. He's the boss. He can says we aren't enforcing this part of this rule.
That's not my belief. No, I don't think that if there's legislation that shuts the border down, I don't think the president can just ignore it. I mean, maybe after Donald Trump just ignores all of the rest of the laws, maybe now we've set the precedent that he could. But prior to Donald Trump, no, that's not that understanding. That's not the understanding.
A president could do exactly what Donald Trump's doing now and writing executive orders, and it's getting caught up in courts, and we're going through this disaster, and it's just a mess. But guess what? It's a mess, and Donald Trump is still getting through what he wants.
No, Donald Trump right now just signed executive orders to invoke emergency powers. This isn't a statutory authority that he has.
And the next president can do the same thing. He can say, "Hey, there's crises in other countries, and we have to allow these people in." Right? He could do that.
No.
Am I wrong?
No, not if there's new congressional legislation undermining that. No. If Donald Trump says, we're not upholding our asylum commitments anymore, the border's shut down until we get everything figured out, until, another piece of legislation opens it, the president couldn't just ignore that. No.
Wait, so what you're telling me is Donald Trump can write an executive order that basically just overwrites any law, but Joe Biden
No, that's not what I said. I'm not saying that it's overwriting laws. I'm saying he's signing the executive orders to use emergency powers to do it.
So is he doing that illegally?
It depends on whether or not this is a valid state of national emergency, but it's not as simple as I signed an executive order to undo this law.
Well, I'm glad I think we've made some progress that we didn't know we were going to make, and I
no,
think
we haven't made any progress. I haven't changed on a single position. This is what I've said right at the very beginning, that everything Donald Trump is doing is off of bullshit invocations of emergency power. I said that right at the very beginning.
Who gets to decide what an emergency is?
Do you think the president just gets to choose what an emergency is?
Who do you think should?
I think there's probably the courts, probably the Congress, probably. I mean, it should probably be an intermingling of the three branches.
All right, so. Okay, so there's 3 branches, and you definitely don't want the president doing it.
Unilaterally, no. Yeah, unilaterally, no, I don't.
So they'd have to be whose jurisdiction is that? I think is probably what we need to find out, right? And I think I
don't even think that's a coherent question. What do you mean, whose jurisdiction?
Well, border security, for example, is a federal responsibility. That is a federal duty. Right, that is their responsibility. So that is overseen by the president. That the president is the head of that.
Not exclusively.
The president is the head of the executive. He is.
That doesn't mean he has exclusive border enforcement powers. That's not true. I mean, we literally have laws passed by Congress to dictate how border security works.
Sure, sure, but. He can still go in there and say this is a national security risk. He is the commander-in-chief. He's the head of the military. This could very easily be do you know how many terrorists were caught under Joe Biden?
Yeah, I don't know why you're moving this. All of this is a red herring, by the way. You never answered the question. why wouldn't Donald Trump pursue a piece of legislation if he thought that the Democrat next was just going to open the border back up? Why would he not prevent against that?
I've answered this question 45 times.
Yeah, but your answer was that the president is just immune from any law. That's obviously not the case.
No, that wasn't the answer. The answer is this guy's got 4 years to do what he can, and
yeah, and
he's here,
also right at the very beginning, you agreed with me that he's probably not going to get anything done throughout this 4 years because Donald Trump explicitly said he doesn't want a border bill because he just thinks that we should enforce the law more. So we both know that he's not going to pass anything, but I'm asking, and he said that he's not going to pass anything, but I'm saying, why is that satisfactory?
But he is enforcing the law more. So
he's not. He's not enforcing the law. I mean, he was struck down by SCOTUS on his invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, right?
One more time, sorry.
He was struck down by SCOTUS for his invocation of the Alien Enemies Act, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's not enforcing the law. That's breaking the law, right?
Well, okay. Well, he wasn't breaking the law until he was told.
He was struck down by SCOTUS twice, right?
Well, I mean, but his White House lawyers, this is how it works. This is how the justice system works. It's you go through the system, and eventually maybe you get up to SCOTUS. And until then, some judges will say, you can do this, and some people will be like, well, we still think it's legal, and until we're told, we're doing it. And that's kind of what we've seen.
So do you understand that Trump was told that robbing people of their due process rights is illegal, even if they're illegal immigrants, and then Donald Trump tried to do it again?
Well, I mean, okay, but what's due process?
Due process is you're given the entitlements as prescribed by law. That's literally it. So as it comes to deportations under the Alien Enemies Act, you have right to notice of deportation, and you have right to challenge the accusation.
Okay, I would argue that if you are somebody that came here with a visa or something, and you broke some part of your contract, maybe you were drunk driving or one time. I think due process is, this guy's been convicted of a crime, and he broke the law by breaking his contract by doing by doing this. His due process is getting his ass out of here.
Do you understand that that's not what due process is, and that you're just making up a definition of due process?
No, the due process would be he's been convicted of another crime, and now that's
wrong. That's not what due process is. So if due process says that if you're removable under the Alien Enemies Act, you need to be designated as an alien enemy. That's what due process is. So if a law says you can't be deported under A, B, C situations, and you're deported under B situation, then that's a violation of your due process rights.
Yeah, and then if the head of the federal government comes in and he says, well, this executive order nonsense, this fake bullshit with whatever asylum, with whatever executive orders that Joe Biden wrote, we're just going to oversee it. And it's just the new due process, because doesn't the Secretary of State have the right to basically revoke visas? I'm pretty sure
I'm not talking about revoking visas.
Okay, but once you revoke them, you can just remove these people.
Okay, that's great. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about alien enemy deportations that were done without due process rights. He was shot down by SCOTUS once, and then he tried to do it again.
Okay, well, according to his lawyers and his team,
his lawyers are liars. We know that his lawyers are liars. He surrounds himself with people that agree with him. He surrounds himself with yes men, not concerned by legality. I mean, he literally had John Eastman heading his re-election campaign, and John Eastman's legal theory was to tell Donald Trump to break federal law to make himself president again.
You think that's what it was?
Yeah. Do you disagree with that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? What am I wrong on? What am I mischaracterizing?
I mean, just make sure I have the story right. John Eastman basically did the electors, the fake electors thing. He was involved in that. Yeah. So
John Eastman and Donald Trump were trying to coordinate with the vice president to violate the Electoral Count Act in order to instate Donald Trump as the president without diverting on to congressional debate. Yeah.
Wait, I mean, but in that, the Electoral Count Act, before they changed it or whatever, there was a thing that basically said, if you have enough people that say this, we are going to debate. We are breaking into our separate chambers. That was a thing.
Yeah, that's why.
Right? And so
the violation was John Eastman saying to Mike Pence that you should just ignore the congressional debate and make the decision by yourself.
Well, ultimately, he was the head of the Senate, right? Like he was.
Yeah,
he
the
was
head of
in
the
charge
Senate doesn't mean you can do whatever the fuck you want to.
Well,
If
okay,
it
but he
if it
was
says
running.
under these circumstances you break
Wait.
off into the
No.
separate chambers and you debate, and he's saying, "Hey, Pence, you should ignore this part of the Electoral Count Act because I think it's unconstitutional, and you should do this instead," then that's what about my
Okay, but
framing
what
was
was
wrong?
this?
What about
Okay,
my
but
framing
what
was
was
wrong?
this? Okay, but what was this that he was telling them to do?
He
It
was
wasn't
telling
to
Mike
make
Pence
them
to make the
president.
unilateral decision as to which elector was valid or
No,
certified and which
no,
elector
that's not
wasn't.
true. No, it was to be sent back to the states.
That's not true. There
Yes,
was like one of six options. Send them back to the state was the like sixth option, and Donald Trump told Mike Pence that he preferred the option where Mike Pence unilaterally does it.
Well, yeah, of course, he would have preferred that.
Okay, so I don't
Guess
know
what?
why. So I don't know why you moved on to a thing that Donald Trump told him not to do, and why you're not talking about the thing that Donald Trump told him to do. Donald Trump told Mike Pence to ignore the
but you
Electoral
were
Count
talking
Act to
about John
unilaterally
Eastman.
instate him as the president. Correct?
You were talking about John Eastman, and you're
I'm
saying
saying
he broke
Donald
the law.
Trump-
But technically,
Donald Trump-
until the decision
hold on.
was made, I don't think John Eastman broke any law.
I'm saying John Eastman asked him to break the law, and he admitted as much. He said, "I implore you to consider one more minor violation of the Electoral Count Act." What else would that mean?
Yeah, push boundaries. Yeah, let's find out.
A minor violation, and you're not willing to say that he wanted to break the law? Like, what does violation of a law mean? Does that mean you're breaking it?
Yeah, and
Okay,
I
cool.
mean,
So Donald Trump did advocate for Mike Pence to violate federal law in order to unilaterally instate him as president. Is there anything wrong about that characterization?
yes,
What's wrong about that characterization?
because I like the argument that was being made from the people that actually were in that room that could do it. Was always talking about going back to the states.
Yeah, but that wasn't
So,
Donald
like,
Trump's
yeah.
argument, right? Donald Trump did not make that argument. Donald Trump made the
Donald
argument
Trump,
that Pence should do it unilaterally, right? So I'm talking about Donald Trump right now. I'm not talking about Ted Cruz. I'm saying Donald Trump argued that. Do you think I'm mischaracterizing that?
Well, I mean, I heard Donald Trump say send it back to the states many times too. So, I mean, Donald
Yeah, in
Trump says a
public,
lot
but he
of
never
things.
told Pence to do it. He told Pence to do it unilaterally.
Yeah, I think he probably told Mike Pence to do a lot of things.
Okay, wait. So do you agree with my framing that Donald Trump asked Mike Pence to violate federal law in order to unilaterally instate him as president? Do you disagree with any of that framing?
Probably not. And then,
Okay, so then my question is, if Donald Trump thinks that the fate of the election should sit in the vice president, why did you vote? Like, if Kamala Harris had the power to just determine herself as the president, then why did you vote?
well, I mean, she did until they changed the law.
No, the changing of the law is irrelevant. He was telling Pence to break it anyway, so why would changing the law matter at all? If you can just break the Electoral Count Act, why does it matter if it was reformed?
Well, they reformed it in a big way, didn't they? After
It doesn't matter. If John Eastman was asking Mike Pence to break it, then why couldn't Kamala Harris break it?
because there were two different laws in place when that happened.
Why would
There was a
breaking the
different
Electoral
law.
Count Act of 1798 change from breaking the Electoral Count Act of 2022? Why would that matter?
Because they made it more clear in the law that
It doesn't
that Mike Pence.
It doesn't matter how clear it is. They were asking him to break it. The language of the law doesn't matter if you're asking them to break it. It doesn't matter how clear the murder statutes are if I'm telling you to murder somebody.
Wait, hang on. Do you think Mike Pence had the power to send it back to the states?
No, and no one believes that he did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't think he could have got it sent back to the states?
Nope.
I mean, I think there was a chance of it before
No.
the chaos.
No, it was illegal, and Mike Pence said it was illegal.
Wait, it was illegal to send it back to the states, even though
Yes.
there were state legislatures saying they
Correct.
they
Yes.
wanted them
After the electors are certified
Oh.
past the safe harbor date, it's not legal to delay the election certification. That's the grounds on which Bush v. Gore was decided.
Well, it wouldn't be delayed. That's part of the process.
It's sending it back to the
If it goes
states
back
would
to
be
the states,
delaying it.
Would be delayed.
Wait, if the election is certified on January 6th and you don't certify on January 6th, and you certify at a later date after it's sent back to the states, what would that be doing to the election certification?
Well, I mean, wouldn't that have to
That would be
happen? I mean,
that would
what
be
if
a
there was-
delay, right?
what if there was
That would be
what
a
if there
delay,
was
right?
What if there was a real dispute in the election and there was some real stuff that had to be looked at? Do you think we should be at, well,
What
it
happens?
doesn't matter if we,
What happens is
Wait,
that
what
it
do you
goes to
think?
a contingent election. You say neither of these neither of these electors are considered valid, and then I'm pretty sure it's the House elects the president and the Senate elects the vice president. That's what happens. So
Yeah,
all of
well, I
this
think-
shit about sending it back to the states was made up.
no, I don't think so.
What a trash debater.
I mean, I don't think so. Is a really good argument.
I didn't come up here to debate.
It's just
Truth, essential.
I don't know. I'm just gonna I don't know, like, this is-
lesbians.
I don't know what to say to nah. Like there's no response to that. I'm sorry. Is there anything else?
Well, I mean, there is. I mean, if we want to just recap the conversation, you declared that immigration was the #1 policy for Donald Trump, and then I asked you,
Yeah,
like, how come
every
he
Trump
spent more
supporter
money on-
would agree with
Wait,
that too.
Let me finish, please. Like, so even though he spent more money on other things to advertise to try to get people to vote, you have declared that it was the #1 issue.
Yeah, ask
And-
any
and
Trump
you-
supporter and they'll agree. Ask any Trump supporter and they'll say, and there's a reason that when you came
I'm a
up, you
Trump
said
supporter.
Donald Trump
I
fixed the border.
disagree.
That's the first thing that
Hey.
you said. The
Hey,
first thing you
buddy,
brought
hey,
up was
buddy.
how immigration was solved. So
Yellow diamonds look like PP.
yellow diamonds look like PP.
Do they?
Yeah.
How do you know?
So do you disagree that the #1 like thing that got Donald Trump elected, like the #1 popularity thing with MAGA is immigration? Do you actually really disagree with that?
Yeah, I think so. Is that unbelievable
Yeah,
or
let's
what?
give this guy a send off.
What a trash debater.
I lost my way again through the storm, through the wind.
Yellow diamonds look like PP.
Okay.